All right, switching gears into the T20 format. We had a fabulous test series, but it's time to switch it up. India has named their squad for the Asia Cup coming up here in September. It is a very solid 15 players that looks like a lot of firepower within that team. There has been some notable misses and some surprising inclusions too. We're going to unpack all of it in today's episode. Welcome back to another episode of the In Between Overs podcast. I'm Tehran.
And I'm Ishan.
All right, first impressions. What do you think?
Man, I feel like it's a new squad, because of some of the retirements that happened in the last T20 World Cup. So I think a lot of fresh faces, obviously some changes in the leadership as well. So I think it's a new chapter, as similar to what it was in the test team. A new chapter. I think it's also a new chapter in the T20 setup as well. So very excited. But I think India put up a very strong team. So I think a lot of expectations as well, despite the team being quote unquote new. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, when I see the squad, I feel the same way in terms of there's a lot of firepower within the team. A newish team, but we saw a lot of these players in the series before right after the T20 World Cup, before the big test series that we had. And we saw a lot of these players playing. We saw a lot of them that played that are not in here. So let's just dive into the squad first. So we're looking from a batting perspective. Well, captain Sky Surya's in the squad, Shubman's in the squad, Sanju
As
as
vice
vice
captain.
captain, yeah, which
Yeah.
we'll talk about. Sanju Samson, Jitish Sharma as backup for Sanju looks like. Rinku
Yeah.
Singh made the cut. There's some controversy around that. Abhishek Sharma's in there. Shivam Dubey's in there. Hardik Pandya, Akshar Patel, Tilak Varma, somehow classified as all-rounder. Okay. By the way, I'm reading from Cricinfo, if for everyone wondering. And then we wrap up with the bowlers. We got Arshdeep, Jasprit Bumrah, Harshit Rana, Kuldeep Yadav, and Varun Chakravarti. So before we dive into the squad, let's talk about who's not in the squad first.
Man, two names pop up initially, first of all. First name is the captain of Punjab, my team. Took KKR to the championship season before, took Punjab to the IPL championship this season. Shreyas Iyer. He's been in great knock. I know online a lot of the discourse has been about Shreyas Iyer as well. What more can he do to be included? Or Tron, do you think it's a product of where is he going to fit?
I think it's that. I think there's no spot for him in the team right now. Where do you put him? Because all spots are taken. Even fitting in Shubman Gill again, which we'll talk about, like such a stretch to because he's potentially going to Shubman Gill potentially going to displace that opening partnership between Sanju and Tilak, not Tilak, but Abhishek Sharma that
Abhishek.
seemed to
Yeah.
have worked so well in the last handful of T20s. So now you throw in Shreyas Iyer, where does he fit in that mix? I don't know where you would put him because number 3 and 4 is a lock, I feel, between Sky and Tilak. And then you have to play Sanju. You can't drop him. So you're playing him probably in the middle order. So where does Shreyas go? Because you need to play the all-rounders as well. Shreyas doesn't bowl, which I feel is against him. Because if he did bowl, then there was an opportunity for him. But he's an out-and-out batter. So no, there just isn't a spot for him, I think.
I see what you mean, and I see where you're going with, especially with the inclusion of Shimon Gill. But just to take a step back, maybe this is a hot take. I would have preferred if BCCI put in Shreyas Iyer and just kept out Shubman Gill. I don't think Shubman Gill is as big of a player in a T20 format as Shreyas Iyer is. And I think there's a little bit going on between GG and Shreyas Iyer. I don't think they see eye to eye, and I think that definitely had an impact on his inclusion. I think Shreyas Iyer is one of those players that you make room for. You don't find room for. You kind of make room for him, or you build a team around him. I think there's a few players that you build a team around, and Shreyas Iyer, especially with the way he's batted, his form in the white ball. I see Shreyas Iyer as part of the India setup all day and throughout.
let's not forget that Shubman Gill had a pretty good IPL as well with those partnerships with Sai Sudarshan. He was consistently giving starts to Gujarat Titans. And if you remember, they were so reliant on their top three. It was
Yep,
Shubman, Sai Sudarshan, and Joss Butler.
yep.
And he had a fabulous IPL. And so did Shreyas Iyer. So I see what you're saying. You technically could go either way, but then yes, there could be other variables that we're not seeing or are not privy to, as in with especially with the recent series that passed by. I'm sure Shubman and Gigi have built more of a relationship, so I'm sure there's I don't like to use the word favoritism. I would say just it's like in any aspect in life. When you build a relationship with someone, you're more likely to want to pick that person, whether it's in your team or at a workplace, in your team at a workplace, team at a sport, like wherever it may be. If you already have a pre uh, connection with someone, then you're more likely to go with them since you know them more. But having said that, Gigi spent a lot of time with Shreyas at KKR, so you do wonder if there is beef or something that's going on that they didn't agree on, some argument that may have gone haywire that probably stumbled the relationship. That's all I can think of in terms of why he doesn't find his name on the team sheet. Because I would have picked him over Rinku Singh, but I
Mhm.
understand
Yeah.
why Rinku Singh is picked because Rinku Singh fills a very specific role as a finisher, which I
Mhm.
don't think Shreyas is. So it wouldn't be fair to compare them as like for like batters, if you know what I mean. So that's the only place I would see him taking, but he's not a finisher.
Yeah, no, I see that point. I see that point. I think, yeah, it is one of those situations where it's a call. You have to make a call, and maybe they're looking down the path of maybe putting Shubman Gill as all format captain for Team India. There's also part which I've read again. I'm not too sure about how the business behind the scenes work, but something I've also heard is that Shubman Gill's inclusion kind of brings a little bit more eyeballs to the Asia Cup. So potentially that good for business. Not too sure. But it's interesting, but then again, I think India is still very strong. So yeah, I definitely think Shreyas Iyer was a notable miss. Now on the topic of my other batsman, Jaiswal, what are your thoughts about his exclusion from the T20 squad? Because Jaiswal, in my opinion, would make any T20 team other than India, and I'm talking about England, Australia. He would make it.
This is another classic case of India just spoiled for choice, right? And it doesn't help Jaiswal's case that Abhishek Sharma and Sanju Samson did so well at the top, and now you're throwing in Shubman Gill in that mix. There's no room at the top either for someone like Jaiswal, right? Where else do you fit him? He just slots in the top three, nowhere else. And I feel because of the form that Abhishek and Sanju have shown, and Shubman as well in the IPL opening, I don't think there's a spot for him because just if you look at just IPL being the last professional T20 games that happen for these players, can't put Jaiswal ahead of those three at the top.
No, I completely agree. It is unfortunately the product of having such great openers, right? And you could
Mhm.
potentially, loop in Sai Sudarshan in that category too. As you mentioned earlier, he was great opening the partnership with Shimon Gill in the IPL. But with how great Abhishek is going, it's sort of tough to make room for him as well.
Yeah, yeah, totally. I think if there's an injury or if one of these openers is out of form for an extended period of time and Jaiswal is in Nick, I think that's one path for him back in the team. Otherwise, it's going to be super tough for him to make it to the squad.
Yeah, yeah. As well, some other exclusions. And then to your other point about favoritism, we miss Prasad Krishna, highest wicket taker in the IPL. And obviously, he had that test series in England as well, but he's excluded. And Harshit Rana, I know we'll talk about him as well, but he's included. What were your thoughts on that selection?
Yeah, Harshit selection. I think it was surprising. I think it should have been Prasid Krishna, especially with the IPL he had. He was one of the leading wicket takers, if not the leading wicket taker. I can't quite remember.
I think he was the
But
yeah.
definitely in the top three. Yeah, it's super surprising. I feel that India, it really wants to invest in Harshit Rana. I think it has to do with his pace and his ability to just hit the deck and rough up batsmen. He does have that ability, and you can argue Prasid has that too. Maybe pace wise, Harshit's a little faster, and
Yeah.
so they feel like they need that on some of the decks in because they're playing in Dubai, right? They're playing in
Yep.
UAE, so sometimes having it one out and out quick is really helpful. That's the only reason I see for why he's in the team. I don't see any other reason, especially given the fact Prussia did so well at IPL.
Yeah. And then another bowler that obviously we talked a lot about in the last few pods, Mohammad Siraj. I know he toiled like a horse in the test series. Do you feel his exclusion is a product of just fitness? Like he had a lot of overs under his belt in the test series in England. Is it perhaps resting him and we could potentially see him in the T20 World Cup?
Yeah, yeah, I think it is management because he played all 5 tests.
Yeah.
And
He didn't.
I think and he came out of that series as a superstar, a bona fide superstar for India now going forward. Like you have to have him in the team, in a team. So I think if he misses T20, it's fine. It's another great example of the luxuries India has with choice, and so you can leave out someone like Mohammad Siraj and try someone else in the meantime. So I think it's good for him to be able to recover so that he can play some of the series later on in the year.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, for sure. I think DSP, whether he brings it with his bowling or his attitude, he'll definitely be missed. So yeah, as you mentioned, UAE, we've obviously India's obviously played their last few months ago actually for the Champions Trophy. So they should be a little bit familiar with the circumstances. It is the Asia Cup. It is sort of a preclude to the T20 World Cup. So India definitely wants to make sure they have their squad and everyone ready for that tournament. Looking at the top 15, as you mentioned earlier, what is your 11? How are you mixing the players in? Because obviously, and as you mentioned, some change ups in the opening, some potential inclusions in the bowling. So definitely a big mix up in comparison not only to the last T20 World Cup, but also to the South African and England bilateral
Yeah.
series. So let's just start off right from the top. What are your openers going to be? It's a big call.
All right. I feel like we may be on the same page here. I got Abhishek Sharma and Shubman Gill as openers.
Reluctantly, I would have to say yes. And I say that reluctantly because Sanju Samson was playing so
Yeah.
well. And I'm a believer
Yeah.
of if it's not broken, don't fix it. But since you added Shuman Gill, you have to put and you and vice captain as well. You have to put
Yeah.
him in the T20 format where he works best, and that's opening. So unfortunately, you're gonna have to, in my opinion as well, include Shubman Gill and include Abhishek Sharma. So I think also for the first time, you're gonna have two Punjabi boys opening up from the top, which is gonna be
Oh
interesting.
yeah. That's gonna be fun. Awesome. So we agree at the top.
Yeah.
So let's talk number 3 and 4. Number 3 and 4.
I'll
I
take
think
that
it's a
one.
lot.
I think we would probably the same one here. I know Sky has been very open of letting Dilip Verma take number 3. So I'm gonna have
Yeah.
Dilip Verma at number 3 and then Sky coming down as 4.
Yeah, I have the same. I have Sky at 3, but I think it'll really depend on who gets out first, whether it's a lefty or a righty. That would depend. That would probably determine who comes in next. And yeah, it doesn't matter who. I think they're both class players that can change the game at those positions. So yeah, that's a lock for me as well. 3 and 4. Who you got at 5?
Ooh, I got a 5. That's a big call. That is a big call. So again, we always have to preface this by saying GG likes mixing up the order, right? You see sometimes Axar Patel coming in at 3, you know what I mean? So he's very open with that. But so far for my number 5, I'm gonna put in Sanju Samson. I'm having Sanju Samson. He has done nothing wrong to be excluded from the 11, right? I know some of the domestic tournaments he's playing this week as well, sort of late August. He's been performing extremely well, so he looks like he's in good knock. And you kind of do need a wicketkeeper. I know that Jitesh Sharma is there, and he had a great IPL, but I don't think Sanju Samson has done anything to take him out of the squad. So I'm putting Sanju Samson as my number 5. You?
All right, I got Sunju at 5 as well, so we're on the same page there.
Wow. Okay. So far, so
Yeah,
good. This
yeah,
is one of the few
yeah.
times. Okay.
I do want to say though, I could see a case of Sanju coming one down because he did that for Rajasthan, if I'm not mistaken, recently. The Royals, Rajasthan Royals.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure he came one down because I think it was Jaiswal and someone else. I don't think it was him opening. I can't quite remember.
No, it was
It
the
was Vaibhav Suryavanshi.
yes,
Vaibhav
yes, yes,
Suryavanshi
yes,
was
yes, yes.
Baby Bob
Yes,
opening with
yes, yes.
Jaiswal. So Sanju, I believe, was coming one down. So I see a case for Sanju at one down, Sky at 4, and Tilak at 5 because Tilak has batted at 5 for Mumbai
Yeah,
as well in the
true,
lower
very
middle
true.
order. So I
Yep,
could see that happening as well. I could see that
yep.
happening as well. Yeah.
No, interesting, interesting. Okay, so so far, one, two, three, four, five are good. Okay, who's your
Yeah.
number six?
I think that's Hardik Pandya. Hardik Pandya
Of
is coming at
course,
6. You
of
can't have it
course.
lower than that.
I know. And hey, I'm actually very excited to see him back in the India team.
I
Obviously in
know
the test, but what he brings, the attitude, the bouncers, even with the bat as well.
the
He's
earrings,
and
the
don't forget
Rashad
the
Mill you
don't forget
can't
the
forget the
orange.
Rashad.
Don't forget the orange one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So no, he's gonna
Oh my
bring
god.
everything and more. So yeah, I agree. Hardik Pandya, he's a lock in, and no, makes sense for me. Okay, so wow, so top six were good. Okay, who's your number seven?
Okay, so this is where I was scratching my head, and I now understand why a Cricinfo had that article on India's number 8. You could argue 7, 8, like it's debatable because I think Akshar plays, but I don't know if he's gonna play at 7. So
Mm,
this is where I'm a little confused. You could either go batting heavy or maybe play a bowling all rounder,
okay.
but they don't have too many of those. So I went at number 7. Yeah, I think it's a toss up between Rinku Singh, an out and out finisher, or Shivam Dubey, who can give you a little bit of bowling.
Interesting. Yeah, 100% the bowling component of Shivan Dubé definitely, makes people scratch their head in terms of whether to include him or not. For me, I added Rinku Singh. I added Rinku Singh. I think,
Okay.
to go for the bowler, go for, that power hitter. And hey, we understand that Tilak Verma and Abhishek Sharma could, roll up their arms. You know what I mean? So if you need it
Hmm.
over two, potentially you can get it from some of the batters up top. But no, I think
Yeah.
the way Rinku Singh is batting, full on all in out finisher for Team India. You haven't had those for a while. So no, I would include Rinku Singh.
Yeah. And I think the reason why we're having this debate is because India, we didn't talk about this guy, but India is missing Riyan Parag that played quite a bit of those T20s, and he adds another bowling option. So
That's
between
true.
Riyan Parag, Tilak Verma, and Abhishek Sharma, you could get 8 overs easily between the
Yeah,
three of them, if not
that's
at
true.
least 5 or 6 overs, right? But now you're only stuck with 2, so that kind of offsets the balance a little bit. I feel like if they had three part timers, if you will, to fill in over here and there, that's a lot of options. But now you're reduced to 2. So yeah, I feel like that's the only reason why that. I have that debate on whether I'll go Rinku or Shivam, but I like Rinku at 7 just because he's a bona fide finisher. He's proven it in the past, and he's really good at what he does at that position.
Yeah, no, similar here. Okay, so fair enough. So then obviously next one will be Extra Patel because I think you mentioned him as well, and
Yeah.
he's a lock in as well. And let's be real, GG is not shy of even putting him up at number three if the situation demands it. If you recall, I think it was against Pakistan. He was brought in for the Champions Trophy. I feel maybe I'm confusing, but no, he's always very handy. So yeah, Akshay Patel. Okay, so now comes
1911.
9, 10, 9, 10, 11. So we're playing in Dubai. I'll just go first. We're playing in Dubai. We saw what he did during the Champions Trophy. I'm having Varun Chakravarti as my first spinner.
I don't care whether it's Varun or Kuldeep.
Okay.
I'm indifferent to either. I think they're both winners
Yeah.
in their own right. I would
Yep.
love to have them both play, but unless it's a out and out spinning wicket where you can afford to have just 2 fast bowlers, if it's not the case, then yeah, I'm good with either or. It doesn't matter whether it's Kuldeep over.
Okay. Sweet. 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 And I guess comes down to the last two bowlers. Obviously, again, I think we're pretty aligned on this one as well. Hopefully we are. If he's fit, Bumrah makes it every day of the week in my eyes. And then the really marquee T20 bowler, the highest wicket taker for Team India in the last T20 World Cup, Arshdeep Singh. You can't have him. You can't do what you did in England in Dubai with him.
Yeah, I'm with you there. So I got Bumrah and Arshdeep to wrap up the 11. If Bumrah doesn't play, if they choose to rest him, for some of the group games against the let's say weaker teams, then yeah, I guess Harshit Rana would get a goal. But I see Arshdeep playing all the games for sure.
Now, I'll say one thing though. I think, yeah, first of all, I think where our 11 is pretty much aligned. We're good there. But we always sometimes miss what Gigi thinks. You know, we're always on the sometimes morning of see the 11. We're like, oh, we didn't call it. I can 100% see a world where Harshit Rana plays over Arshdeep Singh. I can
My God.
100% see that. And it's going to be Gigi's doing. I'm calling it right now.
I mean, I can't argue with that. I could see that happening where you may want to play pace, like out and out pace against some of the minnow teams and just like blow them out the water. I could see that happening for sure. So it's a good place to wrap it up. There's our squads, our predictions of who the 11 is going to be. Why don't you share yours? Share it in the comment. We'll be happy to see what you have picked as your squads. Otherwise, we will see you on the next episode, which will be a preview of the Asia Cup, which is starting in less than 2 weeks. We can't wait for that. International cricket is always fun, and we look forward to seeing you there. Until then, that stops.